Hello, WasabiNoise here. This is a practical approach to basic Ableton Push note layout in key, and this is not a music theory class. Hopefully you can learn some of the basic shapes around chords and how to play them. Have to say that my music theory knowledge has improved thanks to using push and visualizing chord shapes and its note relationships. I started learning more about music theory after I got my push than before. I could understand better some of the theory behind music that I couldn't grasp my head around, or like I thought I understood, but it's just all I knew was chords on especially guitar, because I played mostly guitar before. Okay, so first things first. So how to approach the note layout, this layout that we have here. So one of the things I do to make my life easier is to imagine a square shape from the root of the scale to the next octave. So right now we are on C major on the default mode, so like default layout and in key. So all of these notes are in key. The way I approach this is to imagine a square shape from the root of the scale to the next octave. So that means that from here to here I imagine just a square. So this 1, 2, I imagine it in numbers as well, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So I imagine these squares. So if I play octaves, I'm like connecting these two squares. So I'm basically playing the same note one octave up. That makes sense, right? So think about it for now as 1 and 1. So like playing the same 1 note, 2 note, and 3 note, 4. So this is just basically 1. Right now we are in C major, so that means that this is C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Let's take a look at the chords now. So you probably know already this one. So the Triad formula and how I like to approach this is 1, 3, 5. So if we count inside the E square, we're just gonna go with 1, then 3, and then 5. So this is the C major. So the C major chord, this 1, 3, 5, is C, E, G. So if we transpose this shape over the major scale, we will get all the triads on root position. If you look at what I did now, it's just moving up inside this square. You can then play the first and the fourth, the fifth and the sixth and the 1, and like there's a lot of music and a lot of theory that will tell you, yeah, use the first chord of the scale. And like especially in pop music, there's a lot of this stuff that like a lot of songs have like 1, 4, 5. This doesn't mean that all these chords are major. Some of these are minor. Like this is major, C major, but this is D minor, E minor, this is F major, and this one is this B diminished. But yeah, just think about these numbers if you don't know about music theory. I want you just to remember this shape, the triad, and the numbers are 1 and 3 and 5. And if you are a guitar player, especially if you play rock or metal, it might help you to think about 1 and 5 as a power chord. So now remember to imagine the square I talked about before, and let's go back to C major. So I can play down here, but I can also go an octave higher and an octave higher and higher. So it's just the same note. It's just 1, 3, and 5, and in the same C major chord. Why is this relevant? Because to build an inversion, you just have to switch the notes around. So instead of 1, 3, 5, you can do 5, 1, 3 or 3, 5, 1. So let's go back to this one. So from this triad shape, I just moved the note at the bottom and played 1 octave up. This is the first inversion. So I'm playing C down here. So instead of playing it here, I'm playing that up here. So this is the first inversion. And that means that, again, thinking about the square, so I'm playing C major, the first one. I'm right now thinking about it on the square here, because the note that I'm playing, it's C up here. Now you can play any inverted first inversion chord anywhere. So if you play it here, you know that you're playing the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, seventh, and the eighth, where that's just 1 octave up. So you're just playing the same one. So let's go back to C major, our home, and then this is the first inversion, as we said. We just move C higher. So now we can do the same with E. So E is down here. So now I can play it 1 octave up. So imagine the square here. This is the third note. So it's 1, 3, 5, but all we're doing is playing 5, 1, 3. So this shape, it's also the second inversion, and we can again move it inside the square. So this is the first C major, the second chord. Sorry. So now we can play all the second inverted chords inside here, and we can. Well, now we know this first inversion. And the root. So if you're new to this, so you didn't know this, just try to remember the actual chord name. So if you're lost sometimes, at the beginning when I started with Push, I had this, like I knew the shape, and then I forgot about the name, and then it's like, where am I? So what you can do is always go back to the root. If you just remember this, and what the hell was this? So if you try to go back to the root chord, then you see that this is the fifth chord of the scale. So it's kind of easy to see. Like when you're doing this shape, also you just go back to normal, and you see that the C is the first one on the scale. So it's kind of easy to see. Like this is the C again. It's like this. So what pianists do, if you see pianists play, maybe they play the root down here, maybe like this, because, well, I guess to reinforce the bass, because you're basically the bass note is down here. It's not C. Whoa, excuse me. Now let's go to suspended. Suspended 4, which is what people call suspended, and suspended 2. So these chords feel like they want to resolve to something. So it can be very interesting to add them to your music. So if you don't know them by name, don't get intimidated. It's actually very simple. So we have, again, let's go back to C and C major, so we can see like 1, 3, 5 as always. So in suspended, you always remove the third one. So we had 1, 3, 5, so we removed 3. So we end up with this kind of power chord that guitarists call. And now all you have to do is play the fourth note from the root. In this case, this is the suspended 4. So all you do is basically, instead of 1, 3, 5, is 1, 4, 5. So this is suspended 4. So it's quite easy, right? I mean, there's nothing like really complicated about this. And if you think about it in numbers, like suspended 4 already tells you there's the fourth note from the root. So you're playing these, you know that the third one is removed, and then you play the fourth. It's a kind of nice chord to do before the final chord, like. So resolution kind of thing. Maybe can be cheesy. If you didn't guess it already, it's just the same thing, but from the, instead of going from 3 to 4, you go from 3 to 2. I don't know if this is an actual suspended 2. So I mean, this sounds really good, and then always use your ears, I guess. But this sounds nice. Like this is like, this suspended 4 sounds really good, and this suspended 2 sounds also good. It can be intimidating when you hear and you don't know music theory, and you hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, do a suspended 2, the suspended 4." It's like, oh wow, what the hell is that? So it's like kind of very complicated. And the same goes with 7th and 9th and 13th. If you don't guess it already, it's just the same thing. So you have 1, 3, 5. So it's all about these formulas. So it's the 7th, because I'm playing 1, 3, 5 and 7th. Some people maybe just play this without the 5th. So it makes a lot of sense when you see it on a keyboard as well, when you're playing the C major scale, because of the white keys and the black keys. Same goes for the 9th, 11th and 13th, like just go up in numbers, right? It's actually very nice to play around these ones. Like this E minor 7th, and before knowing this and learning all about this layout on the push, if you told me like play the E minor 7th, I would tell you like, I don't know, that sounds very complicated. But it's so simple that I don't know what I was doing, not learning about music theory. Like it's so simple when you grasp it. So this is all about shapes, and if you want to know more about this and see the shapes yourself, I will put a link down below in the description. If you Google chord formulas, you will see these links as well. But yeah, I'll put them on the description so you can see a list of patterns. You will see like 1, 3, 5, 7 and all of that. So it's so easy to apply it to this view with the C major scale, for instance, on the Ableton Push. What's more, yeah, just follow the numbers. Now that we learn all these different shapes, what would these shapes look like on the chromatic scale? So let's go to chromatic. And if you think about it, it's just the same. The difference is that if you stay on C major, which I maybe recommend you to do, I don't know, in this mode, if you stay on C major, that means that it's like a piano where all the white keys are these ones that are lighted up and all the black keys are these ones. So if you see, this is just kind of the square we talked about before. Yeah, you just have a gap, and yeah, here it gets more complicated. But down here, if you're starting, I think to me at least, it's very easy to visualize it like this, and hope it can help others. So that means that we can play the C major this way. So this is 1, 3, and 5. So I think the only problem with this mode, if you're still not used to the other one, or even when you're used to it, is that you have to think about the what keys. For instance, if you're playing C major in this case, so this is the first chord and this is the second one, right? So what about the inverted that we talk about? So it's just the same. Like now I'm playing 1, 3, 5, but I can always go here and play C here. So I'm just doing the inversion again. And then I can do this other inversion. Maybe in this case I can do it like this. So it's just the same, but maybe you have to think a little bit more about it. So that's why I think when I'm composing, I really like the in-key mode when I'm trying to search for chords and things like that, because the music I do is not jazz. To find the chords I want to play, it's just this, and then I can also go to anything and that's all I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think. Leave a like if you liked it. Hope there's no mistakes. I'm not a music theory teacher. I've been making music for years without knowing much of this stuff, but I see Ableton Push as an amazing tool to understand notes, chords and its relationships, and also I think it helps you to make these nice chords if you just know some of these basic shapes, and then you can apply this to when you play the guitar or when you play the piano. I think it's a very nice way to visualize things in a different way that is not the usual way. And I've been like astonished on how easy it is to understand some of these relationships that I wanted to share with you guys. So again, check out the links and chord formulas in the description. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these, and see you in the next one.